Replay. We try out this well-built Kalemne Voltron deck. Can Kalemne best Niv Mizzet, Starke of Rath, and O-Kagachi in Mortal Kombat? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, I want to take a quick second to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have a couple new supporters in Richard Blotcher, Orion Mills, and Self. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Kalemne Disciple of Iroas, and today's deck list comes from a tapped out user named Ocelot44. I got to looking through deck lists the other day, and I came across this Kalemne list, and I actually really liked what it had going on. There's a lot of Stax elements in this deck, and it looks like it plays in a fairly high-powered meta. Based on all the Stax effects that are in the deck, I assume that those are necessary to slow down some of the things going on in this Kalemne player's meta. So, really interested to try this deck out. A few things in this deck that I may adopt into some of my decks as well. This opening hand is a bit shaky. I'm going to mulligan that. No ramp, only 2 lands, and only 1 colored. Well, this is awkward also. If we hit a second land, we hit Expedition Map, and that kind of gets us going. If we don't, then we's in trouble. I'm going to try it. It's risky. So my buddy Dave is in this game. He's playing Niv Mizzet Parun, and he actually has this deck built in paper, which I faced a couple times. It's pretty strong. It's a very heavy control deck, a lot of counterspells. We do have some answers for counterspells, none in hand currently. But he'll also be wheeling a lot. There are a lot of wheel effects in his deck, so depending on when he starts that, that may help out our situation in case our draws get awkward. But I'd really love to catch a land off the top right here. Ooh, there it is. There's the land off the top. Nice. All right, so play the plains. Play the Expedition Map. So now we should be good to hit at least our 3rd land. Shock about what Kalemne does, by the way. Older commander out of 2014, 14 or 15. I can't remember now. I think 15. So it's 2 red-white for a 3/3 with double strike and vigilance. Whenever you cast a creature spell with converted mana cost 5 or greater, you get an experience counter. Kalemne gets +1/+1 for each experience counter you have. So I've talked about this on the channel a bunch. I don't particularly like the design of this card. It wants you to cast big creatures, but Kalemne itself does nothing for your big creatures. It gets a little bit bigger itself, which just isn't that exciting to me. The deck list that we're playing today has chosen to go the Voltron route with it, which makes a lot more sense given Kalemne's abilities. Double Strike and Vigilance really kind of screams Voltron, so I've complained about it a bunch, but I really wish the design on this card was better. I wish the bonus positively impacted your creatures that you play, or the bonus, or both halves of the ability cared about being a Voltron commander. Right now it doesn't do that, and it is, it kind of annoys me. Anyway, that brings back to our turn. We draw plains, crack the plains. Let's crack the Actually, we're going to wait. Dave's got 2 open mana. Let's see if he's doing anything with that. I prefer he taps out, just so he doesn't stifle us or something like that. Because he's playing a deck that does like to run things like Stifle. Also a lot of wheel effects, so no harm in waiting on this Expedition Map. There we go, he's going to Frantic Search. So while he's doing that, we'll crack our Expedition Map. Seems like a good time to do so. Barring any wheel effects. See what we got for the lands in this deck. No Ancient Tomb, which is what I would probably go for right here under normal circumstances. If this were my deck. Got Buried Ruin, can get back some artifacts. Blinkmoth Nexus, Mishra's Factory, Rugged Prairie. Ooh, Scavenger Grounds is going to be a big one. Dave's deck is all about recycling the graveyard. Scavenger Grounds will allow us to exile many, many things before he gets any of the like Time Twister type effects. Well, there's the Time Twister, so that all went to hell. Fail sauce on that. Ugh. Taxian Probe, going to take a look at the O-Kagachi's hand. Somehow we got the Sword of the Animus back. That's cool. Got a Wheel of our own and got a Wear Tear. We have this Leave the Chance, which is an interesting card. It's not quite as good as Teferi's Protection, but if you're on a budget, it might be a reasonable substitute. Haven't tried it out yet, but the Leave half is 1 and a white instant. Return any number of target permanents you own to your hand, which means if someone takes control of your stuff, you can actually bounce that back to your hand as well, but also just protect it from any manner of removal that might be looking to destroy it. Interested to see what that thing's going to do. Hopefully it doesn't get wheeled away before we have a chance to use it. And Starke of Rath coming down for our opponent. I wonder if this is someone in my Patreon. We've been having a discussion about Starke of Rath in the Discord group on my Patreon. Anyway, that brings it back to our turn. There's a mountain. Let's play the Sacred Foundry tapped right here. Yeah, let's play the Sacred Foundry tapped. Drop down the Sword of the Animist. Starke of Rath may not be great for our commander. Destroy target artifact or creature. That permanent's controller gains control of Starke of Rath. Yeah, that's not great. Whew. And down coming a Rhystic Study and a Meekstone. Well, definitely going to shoot those on our turn. We have the tools to do so.
Fire Diamond into the Heuristic Study. Opponent pays for it. Attaboy. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing, by the way. Niv Mizzet Parun, one of the new commanders out of Guilds of Ravnica. Triple blue, triple red for a 5/5. Can't be countered. Flying, whenever you draw a card, deals 1 damage to any target. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, you draw a card. Works very similarly to the other Niv Mizzets in that you put things like Curiosity on it, and it does a whole lot of damage. And I know that is one of the win conditions in his deck, so we'll need to be careful of that. And he will be running a lot of counterspell backup and wheel effects to great effect. Next up, we have Starke of Rath. It is 1 red for a 2/2. Tap it to destroy target artifact or creature. That permanent's controller gains control of Starke of Rath. This works really well with Homeward Path, someone was telling me, so opponent, I'm sure, will be looking for a way to drop their Homeward Path as fast as they can. Ooh, that's a Soul Ring. Soul Ring is nice. Right here, we are going to... I don't think we can get the Soul Ring down this turn. Well, yeah, we're going to play the Mountain, play the Soul Ring. Yeah, we can pay. Okay. The big thing is I didn't want to give him any extra cards. So, Soul Ring coming down, we will pay. We're going to fuse this Wear Tear, get rid of the Meek Stone, get rid of the Heuristic Study. And we pay one more time, so no additional card draw for the Niv Mizzet. And Meek Stone, Heuristic Study down. As long as nothing goes terribly wrong, I'll probably start thinking about Kalemne next turn. Finishing up on our opponents, finally we have an O-Kagachi Vengeful Kami. Is 1 white, black, blue, red, green, white. Did I say white? I think I said white twice. For a 6/6 flying trample. Oh, there's a Winds of Change. So Winds of Change going to get us. We draw into a Sun Titan. There's a fetch land to use with the Sun Titan. No guarantees that'll resolve, but Darksteel Ingot coming down for the Niv Mizzet. So 6/6 Flying Trample. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, if that player attacked you during their last turn, exile target non-land permanent that player controls. That could be not great against us. Our deck is all about attacking. It's the kind of thing where we may need to try and kill them all in one hit. Dave sitting on 2 mana. Could be a counterspell. Erratic Portal for the Starke of Rath. Ooh, yeah. Erratic Portal seems like another great way to take advantage of that ability. Problem is, if we just run that Sun Titan down there, the Starke of Wrath will definitely shoot it. The question is, how long will we go before the next wheel? The answer is, I don't know. I'm thinking this turn maybe play the fetch. Let's see, that'll give us 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'll give us 7 mana, which will be enough to cast Kalemne and leave up Aven Mind Sensor at instant speed, which I think I like. Notion Rain coming down. Opponent's going to Surveil 2, then draw 2 cards, then deals 2 damage to that player who cast it. Interesting. There's a Chaos Warp. Let's lay down this Windswept Heath. I don't love the fact that, basically anything we cast is just going to put a huge target on us for that Starke of Wrath, which I do not love. But I think we got to get Kalemne down. We'll try it. Hopefully they don't go after it. Dave might be looking to cast his Commander this turn, which would present another target. There's an Anger of the Gods. Yeah, I guess that's going to resolve. We'll slow down the Starke of Wrath. What we can do, we can... Oh, opponent's going to shoot our Soul Ring. Well, there's going to be a cost for that. Yeah, all right. So opponent going to lose that Erratic Portal. Or do... No, I guess we can wait. So we'll end step the Aven Mind Sensor, equip the Sword of the Animist, and then Chaos Warp on the next turn. Not so happy about that. Do have Sun Titan, though. We can get it back. Starke of Wrath coming back to play. The opponent will get to scry off of the Path of Ancestry. There's a Mana Crypt for the Starke opponent, and they now have City's Blessing and a Chaos Wand. Target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or a sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Put the exile cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of the library in a random order. Interesting. Vandal Blast would be solid. Don't know if it's in this deck list or not, but wouldn't mind seeing one. There's a Thran Dynamo. So, oh man, we lost our Soul Ring, and now everyone else is dropping a bunch of mana rocks, so that hurts our mana production, and that's gonna put opponents ahead of us going into the later part of this game. Like I said, Sun Titan's still a really big target to that Starke of Wrath. Territorial Hellkite, you say. 6/5 Flying Haste, and whenever it attacks, you got to choose the opponent at random that it attacks. And it can't attack an opponent that it attacked during its last turn. Interesting. Hopefully that goes into the Starke of Wrath. And hey, it does. How about that? Ooh, opponent's going to Erratic Portal it. Nice. Nice play, opponent. Actually, that saves us a lot of trouble, too, because they could have Erratic Portaled our Aven Mind Sensor, which would be bad. Or crack the Windswept Heath right here. Get the Plateau. Drop the Aven Mind Sensor. There's a Nahiri. Nahiri gets back equipments only. Though, really on board. Plussing Nahiri is probably a fantastic idea. Play the Rugged Prairie. Check on our mana. 4, 5, 6. Ugh. So we have the choice between Sword of the Animist and plus it casting Nahiri. I'm going to go with the Nahiri right here because there's not a lot on board to really kind of strike it down right now. So play the Nahiri. Create a core. Attach the Sword of the Animist to it. And we will attack into the Starke of Rath opponent. And they will take 2. There's a strip mine. See if he strip mines anything. There's Niv Mizzet coming down. So that'll thankfully give the Stark a bigger target than the things we have going on, which I like. Oh, hey, that's the combo. Well, so Starke of Wrath is going to have to shoot it. Endless Sands. Oh yeah, let's see a blink a creature. That's interesting. There are decks that could make use of that. Oh, it's just straight exile it. Yeah, it's a little bit slow. Kind of like, what's that old card? Safe Haven? Something sort of like that. Well, opponent's going to play an illicit auction, except that's going to trigger the Niv Mizzet. Alright, so going to use the Starke of Wrath, hopefully before any other damagey things resolve. So Niv Mizzet goes down. Opponent doesn't even use the erratic portal. Interesting. Alright, so let's actually read this thing. Each player may bid life for control of target creature. You start the bidding with a bid of 0 in turn order. The high bidder loses life equal to the high bid and gains control of that creature. I don't think a target has been chosen yet. Oh, it's countered because it has no legal targets. Okay, that makes sense. So it must have been on the Niv Mizzet. And there's a Wheel of Fortune. That's fine with me. We do lose the Sun Titan. Sun Titan was a good one to keep. So we draw back into our Wheel of Fortune. Reforge the Soul. We do get Aura of Silence. Ooh, Brand. Gain control of all permanents you own. Oh, nice. So Starke of Wrath. Going to be coming back. Ooh, wow. Merciless Eviction, exiling all artifacts. We're going to lose our Sword of the Animist, which I really did want. But that's going to get the Starke of Wrath opponent really good. They're losing 4 artifacts. Also, this Thran Dynamo is going to go down as well. And I was actually thinking about using the Return to Dust this turn. Looks like opponent's going to use the Erratic Portal on our Soldier. Okay, we will pay the 1. So all the artifacts down. Rashmi Eternity's Crafter coming into play. There's a Darksteel Plate. Darksteel Plate's good. Play the Mishras. I've been thinking about whether to plus or minus the Nahiri. And, oh man, it would take, what, 3 more turns? It would take like 4 turns to get this thing to ultimate, which just doesn't really seem worth it. So I think I'm going to take the value now, because with the Planeswalker, you never know how long they're going to stick around. If Dave recasts his commander and plays another wheel effect, he can easily shoot it down. So I think it's going to be use the Nahiri, put the Darksteel Plate into play. Our commander will be 6. So I think I'm going to go Aura of Silence, Bastion Protector. Take a little poke at the O-Kagachi opponent. Next turn might be something like minus Nahiri, get the boots. Ooh, that's a high tide. It's not good. Get the boots, recast our commander, try to get the Darksteel Plate on there, then actually start swinging into things. That would be ideal if we could get people's life totals moving. It's turn 8 now, and it's kind of been a lot of stalling sort of stuff going on. Ooh, he's gonna bounce our Aven Mind Sensor. Here comes probably the tutor. We're going to crack a fetch first. Sure. The card I actually really want to find is Damping Sphere. It's one that I'm interested in trying, and particularly against opponents like this, where they're not really like playing a lot of creatures. It's a lot of sitting back on spells and that sort of thing. That'll become really valuable as the game goes on, and, you know, especially since we're starting to get later into the game, and it doesn't look like anyone's really close to winning. So preventing people from being able to cast multiple things a turn easily is where we want to be, I think. So Niv Mizzet coming back. Sure. All things considered, that could have been worse. May need to think about leaving up Return to Dust in case he has the combo again. Curiosity is down. I think there's also Ophidian Eye, and there's also a Soulbond creature that does it as well. Looks like opponent's going to shoot it with the Starke of Wrath, so really wanted to keep that thing out of play. Duretti Scrap Savant coming into play. Well, it's a good thing that last thing was all about exiling the artifacts. Oh, that's a Pactum Negation on the Duretti. Boom. Dave does like his Pactum Negations. I've seen him cast quite a few of them. Opponent's going to cycle a Forgotten Cave. Sure. He's going to use a Strip Mine on the Volcanic Island. Doesn't have a ton of red mana. So those two getting into it a little bit right here. It's good for us. There's an Akum Hellkite, and Rashmi Eternity's Crafter will trigger. So opponent reveals a Torrent of Souls with the Rashmi. Dave casts a Spell Pierce on the Torrent of Souls, and Rashmi's going to swing into him. Sure. That's a Blood Moon. How badly does that That basically takes O-Kagachi out of the game. Shuts off Endless Sands, shuts off Arch, shuts off Path, and shuts off this thing. Yeah, that seems pretty good. We have a little bit of white mana. So I think I'm going to go Blood Moon. Gonna minus the Nahiri, get the boots down, and then I'm going to play Wheel of Fortune. We get some new stuff. Ooh, lots of mana acceleration. That's all very good. And an Elish Norn. Play the Mana Crypt. We now have 3 mana. Cast the Chrome Mox, and I'll exile the Stone Cloaker. So now we have 4 mana. Really want the land tax down so we can keep hitting those land drops. Get the Prowler's Helm down, and start suiting something up here. We have 1 mana left. Well, we can at least put boots on the Bastion Protector. Swing in with the Bastion Protector. So Dave's got to pay for the pact, or he loses the game. So Dave's going to Pongify on the Akum Hellkite, and they lose the dragon, get an ape. Sure. He does shoot our Bastion Protector. We gain control of the Starke of Rath. That's interesting. Does leave our Nahiri open, but we've gotten pretty good value out of the Nahiri so far. Wouldn't mind holding on to it for a couple more turns, but that seems unlikely at this point. Oh no, what did he shoot? He shot the Core Soldier with it. Because we smartly put the boots on the Bastion Protector, so it is protected. That's how it's supposed to work. Have a good feeling with 2 blue open that our commander may not come down unless... opponent casting a Gilded Lotus, paying 7 for that Gilded Lotus with the Aura of Silence down. It's basically lose a turn to get 3 mana. Oh, he's going to mana drain it. All right, well, Dave just mana drained the Gilded Lotus. He just used his 1 free counter spell there. So unless he's got a Force of Will, I think we should be in pretty good shape to untap, get Kalemne equipped up nice and good, and really swing in for some big damage. Cultivate for the O-Kagachi opponent, and Rashmi will trigger. Reveals a Hallowed Fountain. This will help opponent get some basic lands so they're not completely out of the game from the Blood Moon lock. Collective Restraint. Yeah, that one's not great. Although, let's see, opponent's got, 3 basic land types right now? 4, I guess. Yeah, gonna be pretty expensive to attack into the O-Kagachi opponent. O-Kagachi gonna send their stuff into our Nahiri. Nahiri goes down. That's gonna bring it back to our turn. We get a Mana Crypt flip and a Land Tax trigger. Land Tax is gonna be really good right here. So I'm gonna go for the full 3, so we can try to thin the deck a little bit. Really hope we don't draw land off the top like you often do when you go for 3 on Magic Online. Let's go heads. It's a Boros Charm. Boros Charm, very helpful. Play a Plains since Blood Moon is down. Cast our commander. So Kalemne into play. It's a 5/5. Let us put the... How much mana do we have? We have 5 mana left. 5 mana is not enough for Boros Charm. We're going to have to go without the Prowler's Helm for a second. But we're going to get the Darksteel Plate on there, because that's a good idea. And then we'll put the boots on there. Starke of Wrath I'm going to leave back just in case we need to blow anything up, like we sometimes do. Send the Kalemne into Dave. That'll get him for 10. Send the Bastion Protector into the Starke of Wrath opponent. We will attack like that. Opponent noticing that Bastion Protector also affects Starke of Wrath. Yes, it does. Very cool. So Dave takes 10 commander, goes down to 18, and we will pass turn like that, leaving up the Boros Charm. Oh, hey, that's the mana drain. He's going to get a lot of mana off that. Hopefully he doesn't win right here. Curfew. Each player returns a creature they control to its owner's hand. Okay. I'm going to go with the Bastion Protector. Time Spiral. Shuffles their graveyard and hand into their library, then draws 7 cards. Well, let's see. We could Boros Charm, but we might draw into... I don't know if that does a lot. We might draw into more instants that might be more useful afterwards. That we draw back into the Boros Charm. How about that? We draw a Goblin Welder, which will be super not helpful with no cards in our graveyard. We do get Chandra, which will get us some extra card draw. We also got the Elish Norn back. What are the odds of that? The 2 cards in our hand came back to us. Mystic Remora coming down. Having to pay 3 for that Mystic Remora. Love it. It's going to Stroke of Genius X7. Apparently he didn't like the cards that he Time Spiraled for. Discards a few things. It's a couple lands, Brain Geyser, and Mnemonic Nexus. Dormant Volcano comes down as a basic. Dormant Volcano, actually pretty good when you don't have to do the flip a thing. Opponent's going to Chaos Warp the Mystic Remora, probably a pretty good idea. Mystic Remora, known to draw some cards. And drawing cards, very good in the Niv Mizzet deck, from what I hear. So Chaos Warp does not hit a permanent. Reveals a Merchant Scroll. Ooh. There's a Chandra. Going to use the Mana Mode on Chandra. Sure. And going to lay down some Swiftfoot Boots. As long as nothing goes terribly wrong before our next turn, I'm thinking Elish Norn. That'll pump up the Kalemne a ton. Should be just enough to get Lethal Commander on Dave. And then put the boots on Elish. Ooh, that's an Aurelia. Ooh. And then, well, yeah, so then swing the Elish Norn into the Chandra. Aurelia might take down the Chandra right here. Depending on our mana, we probably don't have enough to do this, but shooting Aurelia is also going to be a really good idea. So, going to swing into Dave. Oh, that may change the combat math of what we need to do. So, Combat 2 going to send everything back into the Niv Mizzet. Puts him at 8. Demanding Dragon, you say, enters the battlefield that deals 5 damage to target opponent unless that player sacrifices a creature. Well, they don't have a creature. So, Dave down to 3. Do we need to do anything? I don't think we do right here. Let's bring it back to our turn. We got Land Tax and Mana Crypt. We can use the Starke of Rath to take down the Aurelia. Seems like a pretty legit idea. Let's go heads. 1 the flip. Land Tax. Get the max. Ooh, that's an O-Kagachi. Yeah. Think that means we can just kill the Starke opponent. Check on our mana. So that'll be 7 plus 4. Not enough to do everything all at once. So, shoot Aurelia. Definitely can't be having that in play. Opponent gains control of the Starke of Wrath. Sure. We're going to play the Plains. We're going to play Elish Norn. We'll get an experience counter. We're going to move the boots over to the Norn. Going to play O-Kagachi. Put O-Kagachi on the Kalemne. And we will go to combat. So send the Elish Norn at Dave and the Kalemne at the Starke of Wrath opponent. He says GG. Starke of Wrath takes a massive hit, goes down to 16, 18 commander damage. I was thinking something else on the commander damage. And we have 2 mana up, so we'll just sit on to the Boros Charm and make sure no one tries to wipe our stuff. And we'll discard some lands. Opponent's going to exile the top card of their library. Sure, looking for some answers probably. That's a Wheel of Fortune. Let's see if they cast it. They may if they're looking for answers. So, opponent going to cast the Wheel of Fortune. We are just going to make our permanents indestructible right now. Really reduces the amount of ways that opponent can interact with us, so I like that. Lot of wheel effects this game. What's that, like the 4th or 5th wheel that's gone off? That is a lot of wheeling. We draw into some interesting things. Probably things that we wanted to see earlier in the game, not so much later. But a Sensei's Divining Top can always do some digging for us. Inspiring Statuary, interesting card that I've been wanting to try out in the equipment version of Aurelia. The Weapons of War build can really do some work to give you some extra mana by allowing you to tap your equipments for mana. Custody Battle. Enchant a creature as at the beginning of your upkeep. Target opponent gains control of this. Target opponent gains control of this unless you sacrifice a land. So we may have to sacrifice a land on our turn, I believe, is how that reads. Duretti coming back to play. Solemn Simulacrum coming down. Didn't see how it died. Oh, sacrifice the artifact? Yep, okay. So opponent just digging like crazy. So this appears to be an O-Kagachi Dragons deck. I've seen a lot of dragons from our opponent, or at least a decent amount of them. Oh, one thing I didn't think about too, we can use the Aura of Silence to shoot down the Collective Restraint whenever we need to do so. Oh, Paradox Engine for our opponent. Well, we may have to use the Aura of Silence on that, or try to kill them first. Ooh, there's a Yosei the Morning Star. Oh, who is it? Steve Gutenkay? He's going to get on me, I think, about my pronunciation of that.
Yosei. Yosei.
This lesson in Japanese brought to you by Steve Gutenkay.
A Sarkin Val coming down. As long as they can't sacrifice this thing, we're in good shape. Ooh, hey. Opponent's going to gain control of target creature until end of turn. That creature gains haste. Eee. Think we're about to take a big old hit. Luckily, Elish Norn does make it a bit smaller. It's now a 4-1. Boots coming down. Put the boots on the Yosei. So opponent going to send everything into us. Yep. Voltron commanders are pretty threatening late in the game when they go unimpeded. So it's going to hurt, but we're still at 39, so I think we're all right. So we go down to 25, take 8 commander from our own commander. Opponent's going to move the boots around, puts it onto the Rashmi, taps out their remaining mana. I mean, they should have at least held it up, so just so that we have to at least think about a counterspell, but now we know that we're free and clear to do whatever we want. We have to sacrifice a land to Kalemne. A little bit annoying, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Mana Crypt. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent gains control of unless you sacrifice a land. Yeah, we'll sacrifice a land. Well, I guess we have to choose the opponent first. Sacrifice the Mishra's Factory. I don't foresee us needing that. Mana Crypt will trigger. Let's go Tails. 1 the flip. Use Land Tax ability. Get a bunch of lands. All the lands into the hand, we draw an Austere Command. If we kill the Yosei, then we don't untap, and that's not great. I'm going to lay down a mountain right here. So we need Kalemne to kill the Starke of Rath opponent, otherwise it will cause some problems for us. The question is, what do we do about the O-Kagachi opponent afterwards? I guess we play the Sensei's Divining Top. Let's just take a look, see what's going on, see if we got anything that might be useful. Wear Tear is useful. Inventor's Fair Mountain. Put the Wear Tear on top. Check out this trading post real quick. Return target artifact from your graveyard to your hand, sacrifice an artifact, draw a card. Yeah, I don't think we need anything in that right now. The Orrery allows us to play 2 lands per turn. Could be helpful. Ooh, Inspiring Statuary. I don't want to austere command for enchantments because that'll get rid of the Blood Moon, and Blood Moon is really hurting our opponent. Oh, I know. Okay, I got it. So we're going to move some stuff around. Put the boots over here. Put the Prowler's Helm on the Elish Norn. We're going to draw the Wear Tear. Do we need to fuse it? Just in case. I mean, just in case something goes wrong right here. We'll shoot the Paradox Engine, shoot the Collective Restraint. Then we will go to combat. Elish Norn at the Sarkenval, and Kalemne at the Starke opponent. Opponent says GG. So Starke of Wrath goes down, takes 27 commander damage, and Sarkenval going down. It's going to bring it to our main phase 2. I'm thinking, get the Inspiring Statuary down. We don't really have any instant speed effects right now. Oh, non-artifact spells of improvise. Oops. That being the case, let's get on the Torpor Orb, because there's plenty of ETB creatures in the game of Magic that could be problems, so we will try and lock those out. Let's see what opponent's got. We could still lose this game. We need to be careful. Like, a big double-striking dragon and some haste could be really problematic for us. Surrak Dragonclaw gives things trample, sure. Opponent drops a land, looks like they're gonna... They pass. Oh, yeah. Blood Moon doing some real work. Land tax again. Mana Crypt. I think there's only 1 land left. Lost the flip. Down to 22. Oh, that's going to shuffle away our Divining Top. Actually not going to use the land tax right here. Yep, get the Divining Top back. That seems much more important. So play the play the plains. Move the boots over to the Norn. Move the Prowler's Helm over to the Kalemne. We're going to keep the boots on Norn for right now. Let's cast the Sensei's Divining Top. Just take a look. Make sure there's, see if there's anything cool on top. Containment Priest, I mean, that's fine. Actually, Inventor's Fair is a card. Inventor's Fair, well, don't know that we need any of the swords right now, so I guess we'll just stay on Containment Priest, in case someone has like a Dragon Storm or something like that. Swing in with the Kalemne. Can only be blocked by walls. Opponent has no walls currently. Opponent takes the big hit, 18 commander damage, down to 17 life. I'm going to play the Gearport Orrery right here. Hopefully that doesn't punish us for any reason. So we get additional land play, we'll drop a mountain. Guess we'll play the trading post since we don't have anything else going on. Actually, we're going to keep that trading post just in case there's a board wipe and we need to get some stuff back. Don't want to lose every single thing that we have. Seems like a good idea. Gilded Lotus coming down. Okay. We'll help with opponent's color situation. Yep, opponent coming in the air. No blocks, we have no flyers. And we go down to 16. Opponent's still going to need a big play. Ugin would be pretty good. Ooh, Vampiric Tutor. So we need to end this game right here. Because if they have anything that will do anything, Vampiric Tutor will find it. Hopefully they don't have a way to draw into it this turn. Opponent's going to Vindicate our Blood Moon. Yep, nothing we can do about it. Notion Rain for our opponent. Gonna Surveil 2, draw 2 cards, and then 2 damage to them. Oh, that's gonna get the card they tutor. What did they tutor for? They've got 4 mana left. Opponent says GG. Bam! Getting there. So, Kalemne Red-White Voltron. Had to grind it out this game. Had some nasty opponents. I did name the game Strong Decks, so opponents bringing some of their strong decks. But a lot of weird things going on in this game with all the wheel effects, couple board wipes, at least the smaller ones anyway. So yeah, kind of a weird little game. And so my buddy Dave, I've been playing with him a bit, and the group that he plays in, it tends to be really high-powered decks, except there's a lot of like Stax elements to slow the game down so that the game isn't over in like 20 minutes. I was playing with his group this past week, and yeah, like a lot of high-power stuff, but also a lot of like high-powered answers, things like Energy Flux, Overburden, cards that can just completely shut down certain types of strategies. So this deck is very good in that kind of meta, I think. I want to take a quick look at a couple cards in this deck, things that I haven't really used in my Boros lists that I would like to try out and maybe give some consideration to. Goblin Welder is one. Easy way to get some artifacts back from the graveyard, so that's something to think about. Damping Sphere is a card that I'm really excited about. Shuts down things like Gaia's Cradle and also makes it really hard for like Storm players or just Even later in the game, when opponents trying to cast multiple things in a turn, it really hurts. Stonecloaker I'm not in love with. I've tried it a little bit in the past, and it just feels very slow. Seems like a lot of mana for what it does. I prefer Rest in Peace or Scavenger Ground for the graveyard exiling abilities. The Planeswalkers, those are cool. I'm not completely sold on Gear per Ori. It is good with land tax, but it does help our opponents too, so I kind of have mixed feelings on that one. There's a Reforge the Soul right here. This isn't specifically a budget deck, but it looks like they did have some kind of budgetary restriction while building this list. Instead of Reforge the Soul, the card that I actually like more is, what's that thing called? Memory Jar. I like Memory Jar a little bit more because you can cast it on one turn, sit on it for a turn, and use it on your next turn so that you have all that open mana. Reforge the Soul, most of the time you're tapping out to cast Reforge the Soul unless it's really late in the game, and opponents are going to get to cast all of their new stuff before you do. So I've never loved Reforge the Soul. Every once in a while you hit the Miracle ability on it, but and you hit the Miracle ability when you want it, but yeah, it's not my favorite. Like I said, I prefer Memory Jar. And also based on the removal in this deck, Hallowed Burial, Descent Upon the Sinful, looks like there's probably a decent amount of graveyard strategies in the meta for our deck creator. Also, getting back to the budget thing, Leave the Chance. Teferi's Protection is strictly better than Leave the Chance, I believe. So, assumingly that's a budgetary thing. We didn't get a chance to use Leave the Chance, sadly, but I was kind of interested to see just how good it really is. If it deserves a slot over maybe something like an Eerie Interlude, which I've been using periodically as protection. It also depends on how many protection spells you need in your deck. I would start with Boros Charm and Teferi's Protection, and then if you feel like you need more than that, that's kind of where I would go. Also, Terminus to help with graveyard strategies. Board wipe that does not fuel up the graveyard opponent. All is Dust, always good, and Elish Norn at the top for some big stuff. Inspiring Statuary is another one that I'm really interested to try out in the Aurelia Weapons of War build, see if that helps give us some mana. Unfortunately, we had too many artifacts in our hand to really make good use of it in the late turns right there, but yeah. Anyway, so that's the red-white Kalemne deck, and you can see our creator named the deck Kalemne is the best red-white Voltron general. So there you go. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.